What is up, you guys? It's your spiritual fairy godmother, and I am back, okay? Except for I'm not back with another read today. Today I'm back with a prophetic word, or a let's talk about it. Yeah, I feel like Spirit kind of just put it on my heart to kind of talk about this today, and I actually made a status about it. But there's only so much you can say in 180 characters, and to be honest, not a lot of people are going to sit there and read all of those words. Some people are going to scroll just based off of what the post looks like. So even right now, I keep hearing in my mind, like, go turn the music down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with the video. Give me 1 minute. I'm back. Okay, so as y'all know, I am a content creator. I am a person who shares her life, her journey here online with you all, right? So I think the last couple of days, I've just been kind of in a state of like, I don't really know what to share and what not to share anymore. And I feel like that is very fear-based, right? So as I've been kind of going on my journey, I've been realizing that, like, sometimes we set ourselves up for failure. And then once it happens, we get so enthralled in what that failure felt like that I feel like we get so consumed in what the feeling of the failure felt like that how can I put it into words? It's like because we know what that feels like, we try to avoid feeling it again. So it's like having control issues, right? When I'm channeling, sometimes I can't look at myself, or else I will distract myself. Okay, so if y'all be wondering like why I don't be looking at the camera, I will distract myself. Okay, yeah. So basically, lately I've been feeling really convicted to stop smoking weed. And I'm a person who has generational smokers. I've grown up with smokers all my life. Pretty much everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody in my family because that's not true, but a lot of the individuals in my family have smoked, and the closest matriarchal people in my family both smoke. Like me and my grandma get high together, right? So lately I have just been feeling like I have to give it up, and I don't know why. So God has been putting this on my spirit for years, about 3 years now, about 3-4 years now, to just stop smoking. Before, I never really had the thought that I wanted to stop smoking or anything like that. I remember being a kid and hating the fact that I was around smoke, hating the fact that people hotboxed the car while I smoked, or hotboxed the car while I smoked, but was smoking and hotboxing the car while I was little, like 8 years old, and stuff like that. Like, I remember just hating the fact that people smoked. I did not like weed. I felt like when people are smoking, they're ignoring their kids. So I've always had not such a good relationship with weed. And then weed became a comfort without me understanding why. And until I was really able to understand why weed was such a comfort for me, I have not been able to let it go. So I feel like God convicting me to do this video was to also tell myself why it's time for me to stop smoking weed. Weed is not bad. I do not have any feelings about, weed being bad. I still feel like it's a herb. I still feel like it's medicine, and I still plan to use it in my life as a herb, as a medicine, because I do want to be a root woman, a root worker, and stuff like that. I want to, heal people through natural medicines, homeopathic medicines, and things like that. So down the line, obviously, marijuana will continue to be in my life, but for right now, I feel like I'm being convicted to just stop smoking. And I feel like it's because I am a slave to marijuana. Meaning, if I don't got no weed, I will get the looking in my purses. I will get the looking in like my old little weed bags. And I just notice little things. I watch a lot of TikToks and like addiction videos and stuff like that. And I noticed like a lot of the behaviors in addiction are a lot of the behaviors that I had as well, even in just smoking weed. We like to say weed is not addictive and all those things. However, and it's not just tobacco. Like, I don't like how people act like, oh, it's the tobacco that gets you addicted. No, it's your mind that gets you addicted. It's not even getting high, because weed is not like the other drugs and alcohol where it physically has a like you have your body physically relies on it. Yes, you can go through withdrawals. Oh, I got a headache, or I'm irritated today, but physically your body does not get hooked on weed, right? So it's more mental. And I noticed that like it's so much of my routine, it's so much of my comfort, it's so much of something that's like the same. That's kind of like the best way that I can explain it. Something that's like the same, or something that's like similar in what I'm doing. Like, it's like routine type of situation. So even if I get bad weed, it's still, I'm going to roll it up, I'm going to smoke it, all of these things. So again, I got so immersed in routine. I grew up watching my mom have her own routine. When she get home from work, she's going in the bathroom to smoke and spending an hour up in there kind of decompressing and getting herself together. And I never understood it. I'm like, well, you just got home, you need to talk to us or make our food or do this. And then it's like, well, after she would be high, she would want to go chill or go in her room or need to decompress. And I understand that now as an adult. However, as a kid, I was searching for answers as to why I felt as if weed was more important. So now, being an adult and kind of watching now, my brother starts to smoke and he's only 17. And to see the dynamic of how things are now playing out, it makes me think that my daughter is going to smoke. And she's telling me, like, I don't think you should smoke because it's not good for the earth. It's not good for the environment. Why she said that, girl, I don't know. But she said it. So ever since that day that she said that, I have been telling myself, like, I'm going to stop. And again, like I said, I told myself this over the course of like the last 3 years. So once I started living on 37th Street and I got pregnant with Zion, I literally at that point was kind of like, I need to stop smoking. I noticed that I was addicted when I could not stop smoking while I was pregnant. That's when I was like, damn, okay, yeah. Because I knew while I was using drugs or marijuana or smoking while I was pregnant, I was very sick. I was very manic, depressive. I was in a depressive episode, so I was in the bed all day. My mind could not make my body eat or feel hunger because my mind didn't care about myself. So I couldn't feed my body. I didn't take showers. I didn't do shit. So it's like when I would get a blunt or me and Jonathan to smoke, it'd be like, now we eating or we kicking it or we watching a movie or we enjoying each other's company and shit like that. So I knew that I was relying on something outside of myself to give myself comfort and joy or excitement or whatever. So yeah, basically I'm saying all of this to say all of that was background story, right? I hope you guys stay to this part in the video, because now what we finna start, now is where we're about to start talking about conviction and what God puts on your spirit and why God does that, right? So for me, I feel like I have so much fear regarding things that I desire for myself, things that I want for myself. I want to have babies and I have a successful career, have notoriety, and own land and build homes and different things that I want to do within my career and stuff like that. It's like sometimes I could say that I know for certain that God has certain things for me, and I'll preach it to everybody. I'll tell everybody I'm going to be famous, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Everybody in my family know that I've been doing YouTube so long. I have been telling people I was going to be famous since I could remember. I believe that about myself. However, my actions don't reflect that. So do I really believe it? Like, I'll say, hey, I want to be famous, but I won't post a YouTube video for over a month. Or I'll say, hey, I love myself, I want to make money so that I can have a better life. Meaning, like, when I have more money, I'm less stressed, I'm less worried, I'm less depressed about money. I'm able to go out and spend time with my daughter in a way where it's like we're not just in a crib, but we out. I'm more active. I want to kick it with my friends more. Like, even though money shouldn't have that much effect on me, it does. But if I'm noticing that having a little bit more money will make my life easier, but I'm not actively making the decision to work more or work harder, I obviously don't give a fuck about the money, right? So that's the conviction that God is putting over my spirit. It's like, it's time to listen. It's time to listen, right? So think about all the things you hear in your mind on a daily. And I'm not talking about the anxiety or the fear or the worry and the stress. I'm talking about the shit that comes out of nowhere. The shit that is kind of like, go say hi to that person. You know, like, that could seem so weird. Like, damn, why did I just hear that? To go say hi to that person. And your fear, your anxiety could make you not, well, that person will be thinking, why the hell I'm saying hi to them? What do I have to say hi to them for? They don't even know me. All these things you'll think in your head, but God told you, hey, go speak to that person. And because you were not obedient, you don't know what the trajectory of your life would have been, or your life that day, how your day could have went if you would have just listened to God. So sometimes I've been noticing that I've been hearing God's voice. It's not my own. It's not the other voices that I hear in my head, because as y'all know, I have DID. I have multiple personalities, right? So I'm able to distinguish the different voices, but lately God has been making his voice very prominent to me. I don't want to say God is a selfish God, because I don't think so. However, I feel like God was like, no, this is me. This is me speaking to you, and you are not listening. You are your biggest problem right now. It's not the eviction. It's not your credit. It's not your how much you get paid. It's not your finances. It's not your car. It's not the type of parent that you are. It's the fact that you don't listen. All of those are the results of me not listening. All of the things that I'm going through are a direct result of things that maybe I have not done that God told me to do, or things that I was supposed to do that I have yet to do, that I've been procrastinating on, or something that God told me not to do and I did it out of my own flesh or impatience or my own wants instead of waiting for what I needed through God. So my main thing is like, what's keeping you from doing what God told you to do? That's going to be the question of today's Let's Talk About It. What are you scared of, or what is keeping you from doing exactly what God told you to do? And if nothing is stopping you from doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you feel like, hey, I'm doing exactly what God told me to do, tell me how you got there. What led you there? What led you to just being obedient? Because I've been living in so much unbelief. Meaning, I know what God has told me because I've seen visions of it. But more so, when Zion died, I stopped believing in my spiritual gifts. So as a kid, I was told, hey, the shit you're seeing, the shit that you're feeling is not real, right? So I believed that. But then I started going through my awakening. I started coming into my own spirituality. And I started to love myself. I started to love my gifts. I started to love connecting spiritually, not only to God, to a higher power, and to the universe, and to our Mother Earth. So once that started happening, my self-love journey really transformed into my journey with God. Like, it was no longer about just loving myself or trying to love myself. It had become literally loving myself as God loves me. and seeing God through me, because I am a literal reflection of God. Who I am, the person that I am, what I look like, what I feel like, what I speak, is a literal reflection of God. Just like Kamaya Sky is a literal reflection of me. So, yeah, I've just been feeling like God has been convicting me to just like be honest and to do the right thing even when nobody is looking, to say the right things, to be kind, to offer assistance. Even if I don't have no money, I feel like God has been convicting me, stopping me, because I'll tell a homeless person quick, like, oh, I don't got it. And then I just lied. And God will put that conviction over my heart because I'll feel guilty about it, because I knew I should not have lied. And that person could probably use this dollar a little bit more than I can. What he spends his dollar on has absolutely nothing to do with me, because God will convict him for that, in a way of feeling hunger when he doesn't have food, if he bought something else or whatever the case may be. So I don't need to worry about anybody else's conviction. I just have to worry about mine. And I've been noticing that through my relationships, through dating different men, through trying to have different friendships, through meeting new women in my business arena and things like that, it's just been making me realize that as you start to become a better person, you really do match the vibration of wherever you are in life. The things that I'm going through right now, me getting evicted, is a direct reflection of me not paying my bills. When it first happened, I blamed it on Jonathan, because I'm like, well, you was paying the bills and then you just died, nigga, what the fuck? It's your fault. But honestly, it's not. There were so many things that had led up to him even paying the bills. There were so many things that happened where God was kind of like, no, you need to do this on your own. But my fear of not having enough, or being lonely, or being single, kept me from leaving a situation that I should have maybe have been left, right? Or that shouldn't have had led me there. Again, this is not about Jonathan, but what I'm realizing is that when you are not obedient, God does not necessarily punish you. Hey, I'm not making you evicted because you da-da-da-da-da. So there's not this blame energy. There's not this, God is punishing me. There's not this fear of God. If I do something wrong, if I smoke, this is going to happen. It's not about that anymore. Now it's just, the fear is now coming, if I don't listen to God, then what's going to happen? Right? Like, if I don't, because when God told me to stop smoking, I feel like my fear came from, well, what else am I going to do with my time? Like, when I wake up in the morning, that's what I do. After I get, I'm not saying like right away, but shit, after I get my baby to daycare, I come back home, I smoke, I watch me an episode of Desperate Housewives, I get dressed, I get in the shower, I hop on the bus, and I go to work. That's literally my routine. When I get home, I put Kamaya to sleep, I start cooking my food, I roll me a blunt, I hop my ass in the shower. When I get out the shower, I smoke the blunt that I rolled up, and then I proceed to eat the food that I just cooked, and then I go my ass to sleep, right? That's literally my routine. I have routine. But without smoking, like, it's kind of like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Even as far as, like, when it comes to, like, posting my YouTube videos and my Let's Talk About It. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but I was using smoking as a crutch. It's like, when I'm smoking and talking, it's easy. But if I'm not smoking, they're not going to watch it. They're not going to actually listen to what I'm saying type shit. But really, it was never about the smoke. Y'all were always coming for the messages. Half of the people on my channel don't even smoke, right? So I allowed the fear to be louder than the conviction. My fear of, well, what am I gonna do all day? How am I gonna be? Like, I'm not gonna be calm. Like, I'm not gonna be relaxed. The food not gonna taste as good. Like, all this shit that kind of comes to mind. All these fears, all these anxieties, all these worries. It's like, smoking is not who I am. Even posting on social media. Because I'm not smoking right now, if y'all follow my Instagram, y'all have not seen any posts from me for about a month. Because I'm not smoking, and I'm so used to only posting me looking cute smoking. But it's like, damn, do I feel cute when I'm not high? Do I feel cute when I look like me? So what God started to do was God started to put that conviction louder, because I wasn't listening. So now I'm getting high, but I don't even feel that high. I'm losing my weed meds. The weed men being weird to me, they not showing up, they not coming on time, they got bad weed, all of these things. I asked the Lord, I said, God, please convict me from smoking, but not in a way that's gonna make me hate smoking. I do not want to get laced, and I don't want to have a bad high. So guess what God started to do? I prayed for that, I asked for that, and then God delivered. So guess what? Two of the weed men that I was, remember the dude from my old story time that I told y'all about last time that I was dating, he was the weed man, he fell off. The other weed man was his friend. I think he ended up losing his car. He stopped having a ride to come bring me to smoke. He fell off. The other dude that I had found lived around the corner from my mom, so it was like perfect timing. But then he started not being available. Every time I call you, you with your kids, which is good, which is fine, which I love that. But at the same time, then you got a job to do. You got a job to do, boo. So it's just like, cool. He fell off. The last one I had, me and him kind of started talking, and it's like, well, once I start talking to a dude, I don't want to get weed from you no more. Like, it's weird. Now I feel like it's weird. So yeah, all the situations led up to now I don't even got no plug. I don't, God started to make it hard for me to even get smoke. God started to put things in my way where it's like, hey, you need money for this. You're gonna have to pay for this. Now you have to pay for this. And I started to realize, hey, I just spent $200 this month on smoke. Or I just spent $100 in a week saying, hey, I'm not gonna smoke, getting a 3.5 here, a 3.5 there, a 3.5 there, and then before you know it, I done spent $275, I done spent $250. So it was like, how can I believe that God is gonna do great things for me when I stop smoking if I won't even stop smoking? I must don't believe it. And even if it's not that, because I've been fighting with myself about this too. I'm like, why do I have to fast? Why do I have to be disciplined? Why do I have to give up something just to get something? God, is that what you're saying? Like, why do I have to not enjoy my life? I'm young. Like, I'm never going to be this young and this fine again. My body is never going to be this healthy again. Why can't I smoke? Why am I now restricting myself, living in unhappiness when I could die tomorrow? But then I remember asking myself, would I want to die high? And the answer is no. I feel so much guilt when I smoke. If my daughter is home, it's like I want to make sure my clothes don't smell like it. Or I like force myself not to get sleepy after I get high, because I'm like, I don't want her to see me nodding off, or I don't want her to associate my mom is going to smoke, she's going to go to sleep. I don't, so there is so many things that come up, like so many things that come with smoking weed for me. I'm spending money. I don't even got no house, but I'm spending money on weed. Now, like, I done got my brother smoking. I ain't get him smoking, but it's like, okay, now me and my brother smoke together. I feel like that's another thing that God is putting in my sin bin, where it's like, girl, this is a little ass boy. The fuck are you smoking with him for? But it's like, my grandma smoked with me, but does that make it okay, right? So again, all of these convictions that were very, very subtle, but when you listen loud enough, it's like you get to hear it, or you get to see it, or you get to really feel it, or have that experience, have it be there, have that be a thing, right? So yeah. I felt like God even convicted me to give this speech, because when I tell you, so many customers have walked by and looked at like they wanted to come in, but they didn't. I don't know if it's because they see me sitting here filming, they don't want to interrupt me. God did not want them to interrupt me. I don't know, but yeah, I felt really, really, really convicted to tell y'all that. Like, I don't know. I just, sometimes it's like a weight lifted off your shoulder when you're obedient, because you feel instant gratification. God's love, you feel that shit instantly, I'm telling you. So yeah, I posed the question, if you feel like you're not being obedient, why? If you are being obedient, what led you to really hearing God's voice and trusting God's voice enough to do what he said? Even if God was like, leave that nigga. I don't want to leave this nigga. I don't want to stop fucking with this nigga. Like, when God told me to be celibate, I'm like, what the fuck? And then as soon as I was celibate, it was like I got a prize on the 31st, the next day, on June 1st. It was like I got a prize or something. But even if the prize didn't last long, it was like I could tell how I was ready for the next phase after I had did what I had done, which was completing my months of celibacy. So that's where I am. I'm continuing to be celibate. I'm wanting to stop drinking and smoking. I feel like God has put that on my spirit. I got a story time for y'all about how I caught the bus home at 2 o'clock in the morning, walked all the way from Capitol to Flores, got drunk. This was the 4th of July. If y'all want a story time, definitely let me know. But it just made me realize that being anything other than sober is not what I want to do. Even though drinking is legal, and it's illegal for somebody to be like that, how I was. Like, it's crazy. They sell that shit in the store. But I was just out of it. The way that I was acting, my energy, I was embarrassed. I felt like I didn't remember shit. And the fact that people are sitting here telling me shit about me that I was doing, but I don't have remembrance of that shit fucked me up. I don't like that shit. That shit make me feel too out of control. Just like alcohol, just like drugs and shit like that. So, I don't know. I feel like I just put it on my spirit, put it on my heart to tell y'all that when God is convicting you of something, when God has been telling you the same thing over and over and over again, don't question it. Listen to it. If God has been bringing the same person back into your life over and over again, ask why. Like, figure it out. I just said don't question it, but at the same time, it's like, well, maybe you have to figure out why, because God not just gonna keep saying the same thing for no reason. You're not gonna keep telling your kid to sit down for no reason. You telling them to sit down because you don't want their ass to get hurt. So that's where I'm at with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, share it on all your social medias. And I am out of here, you guys.